This is the 18 WJTS News. In tonight's news, the Mid-States Corridor Group held 3 public meetings to educate residents about the project. The Indiana governor and lieutenant governor visit the area to announce funding for broadband initiatives to benefit Perry, Spencer, and other counties. Kurt Kuchsel is in with sports. And on WJTS Inform, tonight we talk with Jasper Rotarians Laura Grammer and Dan Cullion with information and an invitation to the 8th Annual Athena Awards. All this and more coming up on the 18 WJTS News. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Bill Potter with the WJTS News. An accident at the Brettsville Junction resulted in a total loss to both vehicles and an injury. At 6:15 this morning, 48-year-old Anthony Durkoltz of Birdseye was westbound on State Road 64 and attempted to turn left to go south on State Road 162 when 53-year-old Mary Allen of French Lick was eastbound on State Road 64 going straight through the intersection. Durkoltz did not see Allen's vehicle and the vehicles collided in the intersection. Mary Allen was transported by ambulance for treatment of chest pain. The Durkoltz 2004 Chevy Malibu and the Allen 2011 Toyota Corolla were both total losses. The DuBois County Sheriff's Office reports no charges were filed. Durkoltz was not injured in the accident. Assisting agencies were St. Anthony First Responders and Memorial EMS. A Daviess County volunteer firefighter was sentenced to prison as the result of a fatal accident last November. 27-year-old Colby Blake was sentenced to over 5 years in prison. Blake pleaded guilty to driving while intoxicated and killing a fellow firefighter responding to a crash scene. Blake's blood alcohol content level was over 0.15 when he struck and killed Kendall Murphy at the crash scene last November in Daviess County. Blake pleaded guilty to a felony count of operating a vehicle while intoxicated. A Jasper man is behind bars for burglary and theft. At 4:45 Wednesday morning, police responded to the report of a suspicious person with a hammer in a West 7th Street neighborhood. When at the scene, police encountered 44-year-old Joshua M. Barnes, who was armed with a hammer. Barnes obeyed commands and dropped the hammer. Police say Barnes appeared to be intoxicated and said he was trying to confront a man who had upset him. At the time, Barnes was also carrying mail, papers, and insurance papers he allegedly stole from a residence and vehicle on West 7th Street. Police found the vehicle and report finding several hammer holes in it and said it appeared to be forced open. Barnes was taken to Memorial Hospital and Healthcare Center where he tested positive for methamphetamine. Barnes was booked into the DuBois County Security Center on preliminary charges of a level 4 count of burglary and misdemeanor counts of theft, unauthorized entry of a motor vehicle, criminal mischief, and public intoxication. The Mid-States Corridor Project is a step closer to becoming a reality. To keep the public informed, INDOT and officials of the Mid-States Corridor Project came together and held 3 different informational meetings this week. A spokesperson for the Mid-States Corridor Project, Mindy Peterson, says they've seen quite a turnout for the first round of public hearings.
So we have launched our first public meetings this week for the Mid-States Corridor Project, and fantastic turnout. We had 3 meetings, and in all we've had nearly 450 people attend those meetings. That tells us there is a lot of interest in this project. People want to learn more, they want to ask questions, and they want to share their feedback, and that's exactly why we have these meetings.
At each meeting, community members had the chance to walk around to different stations to learn more about each aspect in the project process. Although they are still in the early planning stages of the project, Peterson says they are making headway.
This is very early in the process. This project is looking at an improved highway connection in southern Indiana. So it's all about north-south connectivity.
Project officials also handed out flyers and surveys to get the public's input and get a better understanding of what the community wants out of this project. Mindy says this all plays an essential role.
But when you look at the map that we have, there are a lot of colored lines that splinter off in the middle, and we're asking people, take a look at those lines. Tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, and if you have thoughts that are not on the map right now, color outside of the lines and really physically mark it and show us some paths that maybe we haven't considered yet that the project team will want to take a look at.
Peterson says the project partnership is the first of its kind in all of Indiana.
It's a very unique partnership. This is the first time a regional development authority, an RDA, has partnered with INDOT to actually fund a study of this scope. So there was legislation that passed very recently in 2017 that allows an RDA to form, and you get those local interests in municipalities represented, and they're actually putting the funding up for this project to get the ball rolling. And I think that just speaks volumes to how much this project could impact the region. This is something that local business leaders and local officials have talked about really for years now.
This was just the first round of meetings open to the public. We are told there will be another round of meetings in the near future. The goal is for the corridor to start at the William Natcher Bridge near Rockport and then follow State Road 231 through Spencer County and north through Du Bois County. It would make the connection to I-69 either directly or through State Road 37. For more information about the Mid-States Corridor project, visit the INDOT website. Governor Eric Holcomb announced yesterday $22.1 million in funding for 11 broadband expansion infrastructure projects across the state as a part of the initial round of the Next Level Broadband program. Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch says rural Indiana needs reliable connectivity to reach its full potential.
Well, Governor Holcomb and I believe that rural Indiana is our next great economic development frontier. But in order for rural Indiana to be able to capture their potential, they have to have access to fast, affordable, reliable broadband, because that affects every aspect of a Hoosier's life. It affects workforce, healthcare, education, economic development, and quality of life.
This funding will provide broadband infrastructure to more than 4,800 homes and commercial locations in 12 counties, including Spencer and Perry counties. Holcomb says this project is long overdue.
There's about 400,000 people that live in internet darkness who are just not connected. And so you think about what that means in terms of their medical accessibility. You think about what that means in terms of how they connect with their educational attainment or skilling up, how we bridge the skills gap in the state of Indiana. We're at a real advantage now in the state of Indiana being able to connect people with the services and resources that are available to many.
The $100 million Next Level Broadband program is the largest single state investment in broadband. For the initial round of the funding, service providers could apply for up to $5 million per project to expand service to unserved areas if they provide at least 20% match. Unserved areas are those without at least one telecommunication provider offering internet fast enough to provide the most basic services, at least 10 megabytes per second download and 1 megabyte per second upload. This project will serve approximately 357 unserved households and 39 unserved businesses in rural portions of southern Perry County. The requested grant amount is almost $1.5 million with a local match of more than $396,000 for a total project cost of approximately $1.9 million, that is. The project will serve approximately 2,798 unserved households and 468 unserved businesses in Spencer County. The requested grant amount is $14.9 million with a local match of more than $8.2 million for a total project cost of more than $21.7 million. Crouch says that this will allow rural areas like Santa Claus to be able to utilize today's technology, much like its urban counterparts.
It's knowing that as a result of this investment, that we are enabling children in our rural areas, we're enabling businesses in our rural areas, we're enabling agriculture in our rural areas to now be able to utilize that technology that their more urban counterparts have. And that only means that they're going to be able to create more growth and to ensure the quality of life that every Hoosier deserves. So it's exciting to know that because of today, we're expanding opportunities for Hoosiers in rural Indiana.
Governor Holcomb asked Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch, along with the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs, to oversee the application program. The City of Jasper and its contractor will be closing the southbound lane of Newton Street from 13th to 10th Street beginning Monday, August 12th after 8 a.m. to begin a storm sewer project. With this project, the intersection of 10th and 13th west of Newton Street will be closed for the duration of this phase of the project. Closures will remain in place during daytime and nighttime hours. Motorists are asked to slow down and use caution in construction zones. And speaking of road work, the Indiana Department of Transportation announces a lane closure shift for State Road 545 in northeastern Du Bois for a bridge rehab project beginning on or around Tuesday, August 13th. Contractors will begin phase 2 of the project to rehabilitate the bridge spanning the Patoka River on State Road 545, about 2.5 miles south of State Road 56. During the first phase, the northbound lane has been closed for joint replacement and the southbound lane will be restricted to a 12-foot lane. During phase 2, the southbound lane will be closed and the northbound lane restricted to one 12-foot lane. While the project is active, the restrictions will be in place around the clock. Work is expected to last until at least the beginning of September, weather permitting. INDOT urges drivers to slow down and stay alert near crews. Now stay tuned, weather, sports, and informed with Jasper Rotarians Laura Grammer and Diane Cullion, with information and an invitation to the 8th Annual Athena Awards are still to come on 18 WJTS News.